Later, Jimmy Fallon welcomes Chris Martin. NBC Tonight.
I will take your life if you hurt her.
You don't get to make the threats anymore. Careful, Gabrielle. I have access to everyone you love.
I will do anything to bring Lacey home. I'm coming for you.
I think he has a plan for all of us.
I'll be waiting.
Found, new next Thursday on NBC and Peak.
35 years ago, all eyes were on these two brothers inside an LA courtroom, charged and convicted of killing their parents in a crime that shocked the nation and made headlines across the world. Tonight, their case is getting another look. And the reason for that, new evidence brought to the LA District Attorney. It's not the first time the Menendez brothers have appealed, but it is the first time the DA has taken this stunning move, which is giving them new hope. NBC4's Darsha Phillips starts our team coverage with that surprise news conference this afternoon by George Gascon.
Yeah, Colleen, this is a case and a story that continues to capture the attention of the nation. Now, DA George Gascon says there's no question that Eric and Lyle Menendez murdered their parents, but he says in light of this new evidence, it has his office examining if the brothers still belong in prison. Nearly 30 years after the Menendez brothers were convicted of murdering their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, prosecutors are looking at the case through a different lens, reviewing new evidence that has the DA asking questions that could warrant a resentencing in this notorious case.
That there was evidence that had that evidence been presented to the jury, the outcome of this case would have been different.
District Attorney George Gascon is referring to a letter that Eric Menendez sent to his cousin before the killings.
In that letter, he describes the abuse by his father and how it was weighing on him, as you can imagine.
Attorney Mark Garrigo says the brothers have always said they killed their parents out of self-defense after enduring a lifetime of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse from them. Prosecutors at the time said there was no evidence of sexual abuse. A second piece of evidence being reviewed from one of the members of the band, Menudo.
Signed a declaration saying, unbelievably, as it may seem, that he too was molested and at the home, which was one of the points that was raised, at least in the first trial, that Jose Menendez felt so comfortable or so safe in the home where he had molested his own kids that he thought he could bring in a third party.
The DA is reviewing this new evidence seriously, but Associate Professor at the Annenberg School of Journalism at USC, Alan Abramson, says the abuse defense holds no merit. Alan also covered the Menendez trial for the LA Times.
The whole theory of the abuse rests on a thing called imperfect self-defense. Was I in fear for my life? But that fear has to be imminent.
But some argue the Menendez story that has been retold through countless documentaries and dramatizations may have had a different verdict in today's understanding of how sexual and physical abuse affects children. If the DA decides to re-sentence the brothers after reviewing the new evidence, they would get time served and would be released from prison.
I'd like to get him home before the end of the year.
And Garrigo says 24 members of the Menendez family also signed a letter for the DA asking him to re-sentence the brothers and let them come home. Reporting live from downtown Los Angeles, I'm Darsha Phillips, NBC4 News.
All right, Darsha, thank you for that. Now, revisiting the case by reviewing evidence from the murder trial could be life-changing for the Menendez brothers, who are currently serving life sentences. NBC4's Robert Kovacic has more on that and what some are calling, really, and you have it right here, the smoking gun at the center of these new developments today. Robert.
Colleen, and it all starts with the question that has been debated for decades. Were they molested or were they not? A jury didn't believe they were, and it led to the Menendez brothers' conviction to life in prison without the possibility of parole. So now, what exactly is this, quote, new evidence that could change the case, corroborate their claims, and potentially lead to their freedom? Tonight, we spoke with the journalist who discovered this letter and more.
It's a story they've stuck with. From their tearful testimony decades ago to what Lyle Menendez told me during a phone call from prison in 2017.
Why didn't you